If there's one thing Disney and Pixar love doing, it's hiding references across their movies. Did you know they've already snuck in tons of characters from one movie into another?
But that's simply not possible.
Sometimes a character first appears as an Easter egg before starring in their own movie. Don't believe it? Then you probably haven't heard about what happens in Moana 2. In the end credits, we see a sketch of a smiling snake. That's Gary, a character who's set to officially debut in Zootopia 2. Once it's released, of course. The movie hits theaters on November 26, 2025. Moana 2 premiered in November 2024, which means this little snake showed up an entire year before becoming a real character. This just proves how Disney is always thinking ahead. So yeah, it's a good idea to keep your eyes peeled during upcoming releases. Who knows which future characters are already hiding in plain sight? But before we start thinking too far ahead, let's take a closer look at the past and check out 18 hidden characters you totally missed in Disney and Pixar movies. So hop on the wave. Cinewave is starting now. After a long production period, Elio finally hit theaters with its epic space adventure full of aliens and galactic fun. And just like with Gary, one of its characters showed up before the movie even came out. We're talking about Elio himself. You can spot his silhouette in Inside Out 2 inside one of Riley's memory orbs, the yellow kind, which means it's a happy memory. Did she watch his movie and love it? That would actually make a lot of sense if you think about it. Still in Inside Out 2, there's another awesome Easter egg, this time referencing characters from a movie that came out before the sequel, Turning Red. In Riley's room, there's a poster of Four Town, the boy band that May from Red is completely obsessed with. Looks like both girls have similar tastes in music. Would they be friends? We're 100% sure they would. They both went through some pretty intense growing pains. It'd be so cool to see them interact. Wouldn't it be awesome if they were in the same universe? Well, here's the thing, they probably are in the same universe, and we're not just saying that because we want it to be true. A girl who looks exactly like Riley shows up in Turning Red at May's school. We see her in the scene where May transforms into the red panda and takes off running. She passes right by Riley. So yeah, not only do they live in the same reality, they even go to the same school. Or at least they used to. Remember, Riley moved to a different city in the first Inside Out. Then again, Inside Out is set in the present day, while Red takes place in the early 2000s. So maybe it's just a cool Disney reference that's not meant to fit into the story. Some fans even think that the girl in red might actually be Riley's mom as a kid. Back to Inside Out 2, there's one more reference that brings in a really iconic Disney character. And no, we're not talking about just anyone. Once the credits start rolling, a bunch of random doodles pop up. Most people didn't pay any attention to them, which is probably why hardly anyone noticed a tiny sketch of a mug with Mickey Mouse's face on it. Disney's own mascot casually popped up like it was no big deal, and barely anyone saw it. Can you believe that? Zootopia 2 is just around the corner. Seriously, blink and it'll be November. We already mentioned how one of the movie's new characters appeared a year early in Moana 2. Well, funny enough, this might be some kind of payback for what happened in the first Zootopia, which had a scene with DVDs of Disney movies, but with animal versions of the characters, just like everyone in that world. Here, Moana is a cat named Meowana, but she's not the only one. There's also Elsa and Anna as weasels, Baymax from Big Hero 6 as a pig, and even a rhino version of Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph. And get this, one of the DVDs is from a movie called Giraffic, a parody of Gigantic, a Disney film about giants that ended up getting canceled. Zootopia was being made while Gigantic was still in production, so they probably had no idea they were referencing a film that would never be released. Kinda sad when you think about it. But these hidden characters showing up out of nowhere? They're awesome, right? If you agree, drop a comment below with #hidden. Speaking of Moana, you didn't really think the second movie about our favorite Wayfinder would only feature one character reference, did you? In the scene where she reunites with the Kakamoras, you can spot one of the living coconuts wearing a green hat with a red feather. In case you didn't connect the dots, that hat is identical to the one worn by Peter Pan. Peter Pan is one of Disney's most iconic classics. Even though the Mouse House keeps evolving with every new animated film, it clearly hasn't forgotten its roots. Good to know, right? But that scene and the Gary Easter egg are far from the only times this franchise gave a little nod to other Disney characters. In the first movie, when Maui gets his magical fishhook back, he starts shapeshifting into a bunch of different animals. One of those animals is a reindeer. But not just any reindeer, it's Sven, Kristoff's loyal buddy from Frozen. Can you imagine how wild it would be if Frozen Sven had actually been Maui all along? What if he lost his hook, got stuck in reindeer form, and has been trying to get back to normal ever since? Okay, that theory is so crazy that nobody's gonna blame you if you burst out laughing. There's another Frozen character who tried to sneak into Moana's first movie, but this one's a little more creepy. It's Olaf, or, well, his carrot nose and stick arms would show up inside a treasure chest. Looks like the snowman didn't realize that visiting a tropical island could be dangerous for someone who melts in the heat. And if he did realize it, it was already way too late. Why did Disney make such a spooky little Easter egg? In Ralph Breaks the Internet, the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, there's that super fun scene where all the Disney princesses make a special appearance. But today we're not here to talk about characters who are right in your face. We're here for the hidden ones. And one character that shows up super briefly is Cass, Hero's aunt from Big Hero 6. Her photo pops up in an online ad saying she's looking to meet someone. Yeah, it's a dating ad. But most likely, it was just some internet troll who stole her photo and threw it into a sketchy virus-filled ad. Happens all the time online. It's actually a really funny joke because a lot of Big Hero 6 fans totally fell for Aunt Cass. She is super cute, and they definitely end up clicking on that ad. And get this, Ralph himself also shows up in the first Moana. The big guy can be seen drawn in the credits, so only those who were patient enough to stay through the credits got the surprise. And yep, this franchise loves sneaking in hidden characters during the credits. So who do you think will pop up in Moana 3? And to wrap up all the Easter eggs in the first Moana, guess who else made an appearance? At least his face. Baymax! One of the Kakamoras has a painted face that's exactly like the lovable robot from Big Hero 6. It's honestly amazing how these references are everywhere. Wait a second, this is the second time we've mentioned a Kakamora dressed up as a Disney character. Could they all be cosplayers and we just never noticed? Don't be surprised if they end up doing a costume contest in the next Moana movie. As for us here on the channel, we're always challenging ourselves to make even better videos for you. So if you want to keep getting them all, just hit that subscribe button. Wow! As you may have noticed, Big Hero 6 has been referenced several times in other productions. But don't be fooled. Baymax's story also includes secret characters from other movies, like Hans, the villain from Frozen. He shows up as a statue that gets destroyed by Baymax, something we all wanted to do to Hans after finding out that jerk was only trying to marry Anna for his own selfish gain. And that wasn't even the only time the prince popped up in the movie, which is pretty weird. Hans also shows up on a wanted poster. Wait a second, how is he wanted by the police if Frozen takes place centuries ago? Well, Riley also appeared in Turning Red, and she technically shouldn't even have been born yet at that point. Disney movies have been having some serious issues with characters showing up in the wrong timeline. Maybe someone should call a plumber to patch those holes in the space-time continuum. Think Mario handles that kind of thing? Have you seen Ratatouille? That movie about the little chef rat is pretty old by now. It had already been out for years by the time Inside Out came along, but that didn't stop one of its characters from making a sneaky appearance. We're talking about Colette, who shows up on the cover of a cooking magazine. Tangled has a similar kind of Easter egg. The difference is, this time, it's a book instead of a magazine, and we can spot it off to the side in Rapunzel's tower. On the book cover, Ariel from The Little Mermaid, a Disney classic that recently got a live-action remake, by the way. Toy Story is probably one of Pixar's franchises with the most kids, since the main characters are toys, and toys are always close to some child, whether it's Andy or Bonnie. In Toy Story 3, it's even more extreme, since the toys end up at Sunnyside Daycare. And here's the crazy part, in the middle of all those kids, there's a girl who looks exactly like the one who's seen playing in one of the most famous scenes from Up. And here's the kicker, in that same Up scene, the villain from Toy Story 3 also shows up. You can see him tucked away in the corner of the girl's room. You thought the credits in Moana were cool? Then you clearly haven't watched the credits of Finding Nemo, which feature none other than Mike from Monsters, Inc. And no, he doesn't just show up as a little cartoon sketch. The one-eyed monster literally shows up in full 3D, swimming through the ocean and even glancing straight at us. If you want to keep having fun with us, just click on one of the 2 videos we picked out just for you. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time!